Hello and welcome everybody to the latest edition of the Jam and Cheese Show. I'm James Graham, your host, joined by Charlie White.
James, how are you?
I'm doing very well, my friend, very well. But we all know what the listeners want, who they want to hear from. Brandon Smith, big news, fresh fade.
Fade, yeah.
You're looking very different. I would say, when you came into the studio today, there seemed something different. Like, was it the haircut, spring in your step, maybe some security for the next couple of years? I mean,
it's definitely my new haircut that's got me walking with a pep in my step. I haven't really shaved it in a while, so that's good. And I usually have the mop, but yeah, officially signed with the Bunnies. It's been a good process, I guess, because it's been happening behind closed doors for a while now, and obviously everyone pretty much knew but didn't know. So it's good to finally have it announced, and I know it's going to be in the media a little bit, but hopefully that passes by and we get on with our lives and look forward to being a bunny in the next couple of years.
Well, it's big news, mate, because you are one of the stars of the game. You're a big personality. You're playing at one of the biggest teams in the competition, a big club like the Sydney Roosters, and your future is always going to be interesting. But then when you throw in the fact that it is to the Bunnies and this book of feuds between the two clubs, surely you know it was going to come with lots of intrigue, lots of interest. It's going to be under the microscope. People are going to be looking for different angles to hit this story with.
Yeah, I guess it's. I feel like people, almost half assume that I went to the Bunnies to piss off the Roosters. That's not really the case, you know what I mean? It's just, it seemed very convenient. Wayne Bennett actually wanted me back, so it means that he's got a lot of interest in me after, recent indiscretions. And it showed a lot of faith. And then the fact that it's in Sydney, me and my partner don't have to move. It's right down the road from where we live at the moment. So it all just the stars just aligned, and just to be able to be coached by Wayne Bennett. I've had two amazing coaches in my career so far, and Craig and Trent, and now I get to go to another amazing coach that's probably one of the best ever. So it's definitely exciting, a bit nerve-wracking at the same time. It's that going to a new school feeling, turning up and got to make new friends and stuff like that. But fortunately, the rugby league world's pretty easy going, and a few of the Bunnies boys have reached out already, which is awesome, and happy to have me. So,
how were the conversations with Wayne Bennett in the sort of build up to inking the new deal?
To be honest, we only had one conversation, and it was quite it wasn't too long either, but it just pretty much he got straight to the point that he wanted me, and it wasn't like I didn't deal with him a whole lot, and I didn't really do any dealing as well, because we thought that if I done a lot of the discussions, it would be more of a public thing, and we didn't want to have any face-to-face meetings and stuff like that.
Didn't want to get spotted at
cafe.
Exactly. Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, and I've got to applaud the Bunnies for how well they've kept it under wraps, because I feel like the negotiations have been going on for months now, and it's only come to light in the last 2 weeks when starting to hit the crunch time, which is a testament, I guess, to their staff and their ability to keep things in-house, which was pretty cool and pretty refreshing compared to the last way I signed a contract. Pretty much told the world before I even had a discussion about even signing one. So it was a good process.
So you've signed for season 26 and 27. I think everybody out there wants to know, is there a possibility of it being fast-tracked and you playing for the South Sydney Rabbitohs in season 2025 when you finally return from your ACL injury?
It's not really up to me in regards, I mean, I'm happy at the Roosters for this year. Like I'm happy to see out the contract. I'm, doing real well in my rehab, having a good time training, enjoying the company of all the boys. Robbo's been, really asking for my input at training and stuff, and it's there hasn't been any animosity at the club. So it's not, the ball's not really in my corner. What do you call it? Ball's not really in my court. That's it, corner. So it's just, I guess if the Roosters, if they feel like they have an opportunity to let me go and bring a player in that could bring more value to some positions that they probably are lacking in value, then that's a discussion that I'd have to have with them and they'd have to have with me. But for now, if they want me to stay, I'll stay.
Yeah.
And if they don't want me to stay, obviously. And then there's another issue is that the Bunnies would have to...
Yeah, they'd have to find
the cap space as well. So, but yeah, at the moment, I'm happy where I'm at.
Yeah. I guess one of the questions is, has there been discussion of what position you're going to play? Because, I mean, there's been a bit of talk in the media about you maybe playing lock, or are you going there to play dummy half in your eyes? Like, have you spoken about that?
Nah, not really. That's a conversation with Wayne. It was very blunt. It was just like, I'm going to sign you. Like, we're going to make you a bunny. I was like, sweet. And it was pretty, like, honestly, that was like as far as like the conversation went. Whatever my role is, I'm looking forward to it. Whether it be hooker, whether it be lock. I've worn the number 8 jersey before many times at Melbourne. So at this stage of my career, I'm just sort of looking forward to getting back playing and getting back and trying to help whatever team I'm playing for be the best they can be.
Is there a sense of relief from you, obviously, being injured, being in the spotlight, uncertain future, with recent transfers have spoken about security and, that position that you're in at the moment where you've got this knee injury and no deal for next year. Is there a sense of relief that it's finally sorted out?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, every day at training, there's that possibility that something, could go wrong. And that was a little bit in the back of my mind when you're doing your rehab running and stuff like that. Because, it still hurts. Like after I run and stuff, my knee, and I still get pain in places like I don't really understand yet. So if something was to happen to me, I guess, that would be like the end of the negotiation. And that's where I find, like, I know it's tough signing for a team while you're still at another team, but that's where the upper side of that kind of works.
Yeah. Because you don't have to wait until
you don't have to
agents.
wait,
Yeah.
and it's just a huge risk. And there's obviously there's bad reasons for signing. Like I'm playing for the team that had the book of feuds with, Rabbitohs for, all of history of rugby league, and now I'm, going to be signing at the Rabbitohs. So it's a bit of a weird one, but I sort of have told individuals at the club already. My close friends at the club that I already was planning on doing it, I told them weeks ago. And it's funny because a lot of them would joke around in team meetings and that. So I feel like me doing that kind of softened the blow at the club a little. Well, softened it now because people sort of already knew, and they were making jokes. Like whenever I'd say something in a meeting, grads would go, "Oh, thanks, Wayne Bennett," like stuff like that. I guess it kind of made it feel easy for me.
But mate, at the end of the day, it's not like the Roosters are trying to keep you. They want to get rid of you. So that book of feuds thing, it's like if you're a Roosters fan, you're not like, oh, Cheese has brushed us to go to the Bunnies. He's dogged us as a fan base. They're trying to get rid of you. Yeah. So it's like, mate, you got to go and find the best deal that you can.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Like, I think that's why at the club there's not so much animosity. Like, there's not so much. No one's talking behind my back, and Robbo's treating me exactly how. Like he was treating me when I first come to the club. So that's a good thing. And it's not like he asked me to leave either. He asked me to go early. So I remember the first conversation we had when he told me that I'd have to find a club. He said, but we want you for this year. So we'll see if that still holds its reins. And just looking forward to getting back and playing footy. And then there's also that little bit of pressure when you're now coming back for I guess for the Bunnies fans, I want to showcase that I'm coming to play, like I'm coming ready to play, and I have to get this knee as in best nick I can. So, and when I do get the opportunity to play for the Roosters again, or wherever I'm playing for the reserve grade side, wherever I'm playing, just to show what I'm about and the ability I still have in this game. So there's that added little pressure, and also the added little motivation to want to get better and want to push a little bit harder, just to I guess show everyone you still got it.
Obviously, when you spoke to South and Wayne, you mentioned that an important part of your life is coming here on the buy round each and every week, and we don't need any no podcast clauses. There's a pro podcast clause in there for Wayne. Just he's been on the buy round. He's been a guest of ours.
Has he?
So yeah, but very early days back in the buy round's infancy. Before you came on board, before we got our shiny new toy in the cheese, we had Wayne Bennett as a guest. So he knows what we're all about, but he's happy with you to continue on.
Well, I think so. I don't know, because he's kind of...
Get that sorted, mate. Well, wait, hang on.
We need to get this in writing, because I feel like...
10-day cooling off period.
Sort of stuff. But yeah, mate, I wouldn't be signing there if they said I couldn't be on the buy round.
Well, that's good. I think it comes with the territory, doesn't it? You get cheese, you get the buy round.
Exactly.
That's it. It's a package deal.
Yeah, they get two players for one, or three in this case.
Exactly right. It's actually great as well, because Cheese obviously very happy with the security. First time he's come in, offered to buy us coffees and everything. It's been amazing. It's been great. But mate, it's probably too early for you to start talking about stuff like this, but how do you sort of reflect on your time with the Roosters now? It's coming to an end. Obviously, tough couple years coming from the Storm where you were so successful. Have you reflected at all on it yet, or is it still a bit too raw?
Not really, no. 'Cause I'm still here, so it's hard to look back. But I still really enjoyed my time at the Roosters. I still do now, and I love living in Sydney. And when you say not as successful, I only won one grand final. I won one grand final, I won 0. So I only won one more than I won at Sydney Roosters. When I won a grand final was my fifth year at the Storm. So this is my third year at the Roosters. We haven't missed the final since I've been at the Roosters. I probably only went to 2 grand finals in my career, and my first year I was lucky enough to go to one, and I was off the bench. So when I look back, it's not that it wasn't successful; it's just we didn't win the grand final, and unfortunately, we've had to play against a team that's won 4 in a row. They're the most dominant team in the NRL era, and if you were to look back at Melbourne's season last year, would you say that's not successful because they didn't win the grand final? But they had a ridiculous year. You know what I mean? It's hard to put a gauge on success when, I guess, for a team like Tigers, getting top 10 success.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But just because it's the Roosters and it's such a dominant club in NRL history, success is looked in a different way, and if you're not winning the grand final, it's not really successful.
Just on that, we'll move on from your future, and thanks for being so open. Cheese, you mentioned the Penrith Panthers, the Roosters. What did you?
It was all me.
You make of that game on Friday night?
What did I make of that game? It was
because when Alamotti scores.
Oh,
I think everyone's just going, oh my God, this is going to
be... I remember me and Spencer looked at each other when Alamotti scored. I looked at Spencer and he just looked at me with the just like, oh no. And then, mate, you got to take your hat off to those guys. Honestly, the starting front rower, so last week he debuted. His name's Taylor. He debuted. He thought he didn't have training on Monday because we have review day. He thought we didn't have training, so he went concreting. And he got a phone call from the coaching staff. He had to walk into the club. He had no boots, no bag, nothing. He had to go straight to the team meeting. He walked into the team meeting with steel cap boots, a high-vis shirt, and like long pants with mud all over him. And that was our starting front rower. That's how he rocked up to like training that week for that game. It's just unbelievable that win. Like I would say it's one of the best wins I've seen, and it's just because it's against Penrith. But if that was against any top 8 side, it's still a great win. Just with the side that we had, but just against Penrith, it was a great win, and it does a lot of wonders for the confidence after what Broncos did to us.
Yeah. He even rocked up to the concreting site 7 a.m. Saturday morning day after the game. Taylor Salo, like insane.
Can someone get this man a fucking a contract?
I know.
Only in the great game of rugby league.
Yeah.
Can you do that? Can you start on national TV on a Friday night against the back-to-back champions, and then Saturday morning
he reckons it's costing him money because now that he's an NRL player, they reckon he has to shout lunch all the time.
Oh dear, that is devastating. But
it's hard enough working as a producer on a Friday night game and then getting up the next morning at 6:30, let alone play it.
Don't get the little violin. You're comparing yourself there, playing in the front row, to go like how battered and sore you'd be.
It'd be
you
awful.
Literally peel yourself off the bed, your shoulders are in bits, and then go to like
concrete for 8
manual labor,
hours.
concrete. Not that I've ever done it, but I hear it's like bloody hard graft. And you're comparing producing a game on a Friday night.
Waking up at 6:30 next day, crazy stuff.
Yeah, and then what do you do at 6:30? Just go for like go out for breakfast with
Yeah, go get some food, go get a feed.
A bit tired, you know.
Yeah.
You have to
working hard.
Have a nap later on. Yeah.
In terms of other news, DCE is the other big one that's in the headlines. So Manly going to only offer him a 1-year deal at a much reduced freight from what he's on currently. And the talk is that he can get 2-year deals elsewhere. And the main ones that are interested, the Dolphins, the Dragons have been discussed as well. Even the Roosters, I think their names popped up. But 1 year only for DCE. Do you reckon that's a right move by Manly?
Yes, I do. I really do. Towards the back end of any athlete's career, Cherry Evans will be, 35?
He's 36 at the moment.
So he's 36 now?
Yep.
So
he wants a 2-year deal.
And look,
that's my guy, bro.
Clubs will offer him a 2-year deal, but it comes at a high risk. And maybe that high risk, high reward strategy can prevail, but when you're the aging athlete, the way you fall off a cliff is actually insane.
But he's not fallen off the cliff yet, or anywhere close to it.
I know, but that's it though, Charlie. You think you do go well and you do go good, and then all of a sudden, all it takes is one or two things, and it is like, oh my God, this game has gone past me, and you run a risk. Like for me, Cherry Evans is a Manly legend, one club person, won a competition there. Like, what's the price to leave that legacy behind? He'd have a job after football there.
Sorry, I'm smiling. Cheese is cramping over there. I can't. That's all I can focus on.
But not just salt cheese. But like for Cherry Evans to like, he'd be giving up like a job after football, and if you're not careful as the aging player, you basically, you can be still active. In 2 years' time, when he's 38, he just becomes a memory.
Yeah.
Like, people say, do you remember when Cherry Evans was dominating Origin? Do you remember when he was killing it at Manly? You just become a memory to people. Like, that's all. And, I think as well, the aging legend needs to be a competitive team. I don't think Cherry Evans can go to a team that needs him, if that makes sense. So if a team needs him, I think he'll struggle. Where a team that like he's suited to, where Manly look like they're in a bit of, or they're in a bit of a window, like they have some consistency issues. But for me, if I was Cherry Evans, I'd stay put.
But then, would you consider the Dogs and the Roosters to be teams that are competitive?
Well, yeah, but then I think yes, they would be, but. So say like a team like the Dolphins or one of the team that are lower down, if they need him, I think I think that he'd regret it.
That's fair. I mean, I think that because what you said about them being in a window, surely it's more important than ever for Manly to try keep him. And if it's a 2-year deal and you have to keep him that, yeah, sure, you might have one bad year of DCE or one.
I'm on of the same opinion. I think because when I look at that situation, I feel like what's Manly going to do? Like what's their backup option? So after following this year, they're basically back. Their window without DCE is probably gone because you're going to have to bring in a young half.
Yep.
If you're like to justify getting rid of DCE because he's in the top 5 best halfbacks in the comp, why would you get rid of him to bring in another old? So you'd have to get a young 7,
right?
And there's not young 7s.
Should we just cut the BS and just say someone from Manly's going to go, Jez, we'll give you a job after football. We'll make up for it after football.
And give him a 1-year deal.
And give him a 1-year deal. Sign it. See how he goes next year.
Mate,
and
he's been on 1 million for the last 13 years. I don't think he cares.
He's not short of a quid. But what Manly will do behind closed doors is say, look, mate, we'll give you a job after football. And we can't agree, but this is the number because we're going to make up. We're going to pay you for past. And that's what's going to happen. Like,
I feel like that's what should happen for him.
well,
But then he might. That might be great for his bank balance, sure. But he might want to actually play for 2 more years at Manly, and that's the whole point.
Yeah,
I reckon
he
wants some like statistics up.
But so say they Manly give him a 1-year deal. That doesn't mean that they're not going to sign him for 27. They still could. But if he goes for 26 and it looks like it's coming towards the end, and he, like I say, he falls off that cliff, it's not as bad for him or for Manly because if he signs a 1-year deal at Manly, if Manly can negotiate a 1-year deal, it's hard to envisage him going to another club the year after for one last roll of the dice.
No, probably not.
I mean? So
probably
if
not.
Manly can get him over the line for this year, and look, the reason other clubs are going to have to offer him more. They're going to have to because to get him out of Manly at this age, considering what he's done for that club and the cost he would incur in the long run for not being that one club player, not all the opportunities that would be generated by being that one club premiership winning half, and he's been through that rigmarole of leaving before and coming back. I just don't think it's worth it.
He'll be the origin halfback this year, you would assume, based on where it's at the moment.
You've got to.
What's the lesser of two evils, though? You get 1 year of Manly being just nursing DCE through a final year and maybe he only plays a handful of games, but you're giving him 800, 700 grand a year, or you lose him for the next 2 years.
But that's it. I think if you're Manly at the negotiating table, you know this, that you know that what DCE is risking by leaving and taking up 1 extra year. You're going to go for 1 more year.
Especially as a one-club player.
As a one-club player. Like,
Don't you lose your testimonial game?
I don't know. So
I think you need to be a one club
maybe.
player.
Oh, no, because JT got one and he played at the Dogs. Yeah. So, look, Manly, when everybody's got bargaining chips at negotiations in whatever walk of life, Manly have got that chip of you're a one-club player. Like, you can have a job for here for life after football. We can look after you and compensate you in ways that nobody needs to know about publicly. Do 1 year, and we'll see how you go in year 2026, and maybe 2027. We're not putting a line through you yet, but let's see where another club goes. We'll give you 2 years. So Manly are at the bargaining table going, we don't need to match that offer. We'll pay you. Like, hey, Ches, you take in, say, $1 million as opposed to 750. Like, that 250 helps us build this roster for you to finish on a high, where if you go and chase the money somewhere else, you're taking away from your roster options. So I think Manly have got a good bargaining position here to land Cherry Evans.
Yeah, I totally get where you're coming from. I do. I just think that if they lose DCE, if they mess around too much and they lose him, then it's over for them as a premiership contender for the next couple of years.
You're probably right. And that's where DCE and his team at the bargaining table go, well, look, you're talking about this window that you want Ches to be a part of. If he goes, the window.
They've taken the window and the hinges with them.
We're taking it with us. Yeah. So it's a bit of a game of cat and mouse back and forth. And look, I think at this, we're talking about like hard negotiating tactics. Daly Cherry Evans deserves and has earned respect and honest conversations. So they're not going to get him on the cheap by any stretch, because he'd have a contract value determined by the NRL that he'd have to fulfill. But DCE will get the respect. I can't envisage him leaving Manly. Yeah, I really can't.
No, I don't think he's going to leave either.
Another one then, boys, just some news stuff just quickly. Jason Ryles has dropped Ronald Volkman and brought in Dean Hawkins. Now, the important thing to know on this one is Dean Hawkins was actually going to be Mitchell Moses' backup, but he was injured during the preseason. That's why he wasn't playing in round one. So it's not overly surprising that Hawkins has come in for Volkman.
No, I think, like you said, Charlie, sort of this was the plan, but for unfortunate circumstances, that what wasn't the case. And look, Para need all the help they can get in pretty much every department in the game at the moment, from effort areas, intelligent plays, defense, attack. They need help everywhere.
Leadership,
talk, all that stuff. They're playing like an uneducated football side at the moment, with kick chase from outside in, not numbering up correctly defensively, not being able to score until the 79th minute against a really poor, historically defensive outfit. Like, they need a lot of help. The Fox is back in.
Yeah, he's in the extended squad.
Yeah.
I reckon he'll come in.
Yeah, I think they've probably done that because it is against his old club, and
kill the media attention on it a bit.
Yeah. Why would you name someone in the extended squad?
Yeah, he's going to play probably just
Madison's 18th man as well. So there's other levers that like Ryles can pull on, and there's other guys he can get in. So, but the thing, you know how everyone's talking about the leadership. They got rid of Gutho, got rid of Regan Campbell-Gillard. They kind of like, the Parramatta fans probably needed to see this coming, that it was going to be a tough year. Whenever you have a young squad, you struggle.
Well, it was interesting to hear Jim Sarantinos' interview in the Telegraph today. I think, you know what, we as sports fans, we get a new coach into our club and we think it's going to be an instantaneous change. But unfortunately for sport, like, it's a bit of a myth as well. Like, new coach comes in, new manager, and they have an instant change in results, and it's actually not the norm for that to happen. And like, I fell into the trap. I picked Para in my 8 because I thought, Moses fit, new coach, great finishes in the Fox and Lomax. And it's not over. It's only round 2. But the reality of it is, change takes time. Like, they finished 3rd from bottom last year. They were near the bottom in 24. Obviously, made the GF in 2023. But, like, Ryles comes in. Let's look at
22. 22 made GF, didn't they?
22 they made the GF. Like, look at the Dogs, who were a bit of a basket case, right? Probably not. Parramatta probably weren't as bad as what the Dogs were for the past sort of 6-7 years, but Serraldo comes in, and the first year, people were like, "Hang on, we thought we were getting this gun defensive coach. Like, why aren't we seeing instantaneous results?" People don't have patience. People have never had patience when it comes to sports teams, and in the modern world, it's even more difficult with like instant gratification. It's like, and even with Serraldo's impact on the group last year, that came as a shock for everybody, even internally. Like, they weren't anticipating that level of performance last year. This was supposed to be the year that was going to be the one that we're going to see results. Like, first year, lay some foundations. Second year, clean some people in, clean some people out, build a few things, and then hit. This is the year where Ciraldo was supposed to be judged. Like, with Ryles, this is his first year. And I think he signed a 5-year deal.
Yeah, it's a long-term plan.
5-year deal means we realise this isn't a quick fix.
And cleaning out Gutho and Regan Campbell and those guys, it's so much easier to do coming in now when he has not got those relationships with the club. Just get it done, move on. Long-term gain for short-term pay.
It does seem like getting rid of those guys seems more comprehensible when you see that Ryles is on a 5-year contract because they're looking to the future. And obviously it started off pretty bad now, but I think when Mitch Moses comes back, it'll be a little bit better. But I feel like it's so right that they're just going to be. It's just hard because Ryles comes from great clubs, Melbourne, Roosters. He's defensive coach for England Rugby Union. Like those people already had their defensive sort of principles already down pat. Like Melbourne already had a great defensive side. Ryles went to Melbourne, made it a little bit better. Roosters made it a little bit better. But you go into a side that has probably never been coached anything like Melbourne or Sydney Roosters have been coached, and you're trying to teach these guys that are flawed fundamentally and principally in defence, and you're trying to teach them a whole new method of it. It's not going to happen in 1 year. Like, it's just not. Like, I reckon it took me 3 years to fully get like the Melbourne defensive systems down pat. Like, you know what I mean? Where it just become automatic on the field. Like there'd be times where I'd go in and out of it, but then when you find, I reckon by 2018, 2019, like that's when I sort of knew exactly what my job was, like when it needed to happen. And for these guys coming down, like Zach Lomax and all the new players coming in, they've had different stuff taught to them as well, and then they're coming to a whole new club with different like teammates. It's not an easy fix, and it's hard to judge Jason Ryles on this year. I think what did Bulldogs finish? They finished like 15th, didn't they?
Yeah,
and now look how we look at
first year.
And now how we look at Ciraldo, we look at him like he's a fucking genius.
Well, you know what? It's interesting hearing you speak there, Cheese, and sort of like the crossover in my career into the back end of it, and how basically defence when I first started out was just about commitment, attitude, tying in, trying to whack some people, looking for big hits, and it wasn't really systematic. That sort of came a little bit later, and as even as middles, like we had defensive structure, but we didn't have defensive systems. So it's under Des, but the structure was really important. Structure. Like this is your defensive.
Yeah.
But obviously the game then changed to become less like a formula, less like an algorithm. It became more free flowing. So instead of it being structured, you needed systematic defense. And just when I look at Parramatta and other teams with defensive flaws, it's probably not a commitment issue or an attitude or those sort of areas that are lacking. It's just understanding the system and being in live situations. And you spend the whole summer practicing against the Reggies, and you think, we're flying, we've got this. But then you come up against some live attack from an opposition where you don't know what they're going to do, and obviously the quality of the opposition is better, and you're like, oh shit, we're way out, we're way off here, and it takes time.
Yeah, when you haven't got the full principles down pat, you don't really trust them when you go out on a live paddock, because you're not doing it as good as it can be done. And when it doesn't go right, you fall back to your old habits and you fall back to your old defensive ways, where you got to stick to the process and just keep turning up and keep doing what the coach is pretty much trying to teach you to do. And then over time, it's just that it's sort of. I feel like a system is like something you just fall back to when you're out on the field. When you feel like you don't know what
when
you're
you don't know what to do.
Yeah, when you don't know what you do, the system
do.
just go. You fall back to the system and you go, all right, let's just do that. Keep it simple, and that'll work. And it seems so easy. It seems so easy to just follow the instructions like it's a manual. But once you get fatigued and once you start distrusting the system, it gets real hard to execute it properly. So that's unfortunately what Parra's going through at the moment.
And even like some of the players that have gone, the two that get mentioned all the time is Gutho and Campbell Gillard. Well, Gutho's not exactly set the world alight at the Dragons. Like you're not looking at him at the Dragons with, like Para fans aren't looking at with envy at his performance going, geez, I wish he was still playing for us. Like with all due respect to Gutho, like he's not gone to Dragons and had this immediate impact, and he's absolutely braining it where you go, oh. And that's it. Every football club has to make decisions with long-term plans, knowing that short-term consequences will get pushed back. So we see it all. Luke Lewis leaves Penrith, young player, long-term pushback, but that was what they needed at the time. Adam Reynolds leaving Souths.
Could argue that didn't work out though.
Well, you could argue that did or it didn't work out. You could go either way on it. You know, there's for the long-term sustainability of the club, they couldn't keep like the injuries, all this stuff, and sometimes the jury's still out. But for Para, that's what it is. Sometimes building a football team, you have to make tough decisions. Do we keep Gutho around for a year, play him at 14? Because that's where all roads were leading to. So,
and the other hard part is like it was 37, 38 degrees and they're learning a new system, and the fatigue that takes over, their brains would have been absolutely scrambled. Just on Ryles as well, you had him at Melbourne and Roosters, didn't you? Both of them. What's his main strengths that stand out as a coach?
I think it's hard to say, but it's different when you're an assistant coach, I reckon, because he was the defensive coach. But he knows the ins and outs on how a team defends. He knows Melbourne Storms pretty much wrote the playbook on their defensive systems now, the inside pressure, the effort on everything. And I can't imagine what he would be like as an assistant, as a head coach, because he was sort of like a mateship coach, assistant coach, kind of when bells have come down on you, bring you back up. But then when you piss them off, obviously you cop a spray. But it'll definitely be a different role for him. It looks like he's taking it quite seriously by the interviews. And I just know that he's got a really good footy brain. He's got a really good footy heart. And I feel like a lot of good things are going to happen once, I guess, they get a year or maybe even two. Like honestly, it's just a patience thing. It's no one's fault, but just how football works. Like, you don't have a great roster. Like, it's not the worst roster, but you don't have a great roster, and you're trying to learn a new way of playing football that you aren't used to. And any sport, that's gonna be hard to do. So
yeah, and here's an extra thing: your captain and halfback's going to miss the first few rounds. How bloody good! He's out till round 8 or 9 now as well. So that's that's bad for Para. Just quickly, Francis Molo, he's going to be released now by the Dragons. It's all come to a head. They were waiting for him to pay back that money that he was advanced for the swimming pool. He's paid that back, and now he's leaving the Dragons.
Yeah, and it's sort of been suggested that he's used mental health as a way to get out of this deal. That's what's been suggested in a number of articles. I really hope that's not true. Like, I'd be devastated to think that someone would use such a serious condition to aggravate for breaking a contract. I've not liked this situation from the beginning. We know clubs can shaft players, and we know players can shaft clubs, and that happens. But I sincerely hope that this isn't being used as a reason. And I've got the fact that it's round 3 and he's still not found. So first round he could play is round 4. I think if this was the plan all along, I think it's been a failed one. But I sincerely hope Francis Molo hasn't done that.
It's a pretty intense accusation though, as well, by Journo. So like, if it's also like, as much as it's the Francis Molo side, the Journo side of it as well, to say that that's what he's using is like none of them know what's going on inside his head.
Yeah. Look, we don't know, but all I can say is I just really hope it's not true.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, they've got rid of him now, the Dragons, and I mean that's glad that's over for them and for Molo as well. But just quickly on the Dragons before we preview the round, what did you boys make of Shane Flanagan's presser, where he's criticised Ilias' performance? He didn't really criticise Ilias' performance. He asked the Journo what they thought of the performance, but in a negative way, obviously he alludes to, and then now he's come out publicly and apologised to him as well.
Have you ever been sprayed publicly by a coach? No.
Have you?
Not that I can recall. No, not that I can recall. I think, like, looking at this, performances get put under the microscope more because of the result. And I look at it and think, well, if the middles at the Dragons didn't let Mamazula's go over from dummy half, and Sean Kepi, that had taken the play 2 carries before, go over, the spotlight on Ilias' performance in the press conference doesn't happen. It's like, you got the win. How good's that? Yada, yada, yada. Yeah, we're going to make improvements. We got the bye. Look, we're going to work. That's what happens. And sometimes, like, it was those poor defensive reads in the middle that put Souths in that put the Dragons in a situation where they were scrambling for the victory. And look, you've got to expect that happens, and there's a halfback, but Flanagan was also critical of Cook, and he was also critical of Gutherson publicly,
and all his players as well.
And pretty much he give them all a spray. Ilias, because of his background with his knee injury, young halfback. I think Shane's done the right thing by publicly coming out and apologising, like recognising that he was wrong, because confidence people, can be quite fragile. And I think for Ilias, he's been through the ringer with his career. And I remember when he got hooked at a game against the Dragons for South Sydney and found himself in and out of the team, came back from a serious leg injury, probably a little bit delicate. I think Shane's apologised and would like that back, but it can't be done.
Yeah, I think Ilias sounded it well as well. Braithen Astor spoke about it on 360 and said that he's fine with him publicly criticising him. He's not happy with the way he's playing either. So
yeah,
but you're not gonna. I reckon he's upset about it. Getting publicly criticised by anyone is tough news to hear, let alone your coach. It's definitely a conversation I thought could be had behind closed doors, but I also think it's over dramatic as well. It's not like he dug into him and sprayed him. Like, it was more of a little throwaway comment, but it implied a lot.
Yeah, it was implicated. Yeah, you're right.
It implied a lot, and people ran with that.
Yeah,
and
true.
Like, if that's a coach did that to me, I wouldn't be that upset about that. Like, it's if he was specifically pointing out things that I should have done better that I wasn't doing, or not the comedy really.
Yeah, I think Flano's gone into that press conference, hot day, knowing his team have thrown 2 points away and is pissed off. And basically, when you think back and listening to you speak there, Cheese, it was almost an attack at the question rather than attack at Ilias. When you actually watch it back over, I'm thinking, I listened to the press conference, and he goes back at the journalist, asks him a question, and he goes back and he goes, "You're smarter than that."
You're smarter than that.
It's not, tell you what did you make of Lachlan performance? I thought he was X, Y, Z. It was, "You're smarter than that. You saw the game, didn't you?" It's like a bit of a, it's almost a bit of a
snappy
jab.
response.
It's a snappy, frustrated jab at the journalist to say, "Come on."
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and they didn't. The issue was as well in that game that they didn't get to the position of taking field goal attempts and things like that. So
It should never have got to that.
Yeah.
It really should never.
Mate, that's the thing. You feel like the media attention is only going towards him, which is because he's the young halfback that didn't take the field goal. But mate, the lead up played towards the back end of the thing to set Bunnies up to even have a chance. Like, they were down for all money in that game.
Will Val's the field goal? He had a shot at a 2-point field goal before half time.
Yeah. He's a gun field goal.
I'm pretty sure
Val-
Gutho had a
Val-
big
yeah.
drop late in the game and then ended up being a try later on. Like,
Yeah. Anyway.
Let's preview the round. Kicks off tomorrow night. Grand final rematch. Melbourne Storm against the Penny Panthers. No Dylan Edwards, though, which is kind of taken the heat out of this game a bit, hasn't it?
Yeah, but look, round 1 went the way a lot of people predicted. Round 2 was chaotic. If there's anybody that tipped that perfect round,
We'll send you a bar and a hat.
You deserve to win your tipping comp. Like if you got 8 tips correct in round 2, over.
Yeah,
it's over. You deserve to be the champion for the perfect round in round 2, 2025. If you pick that, you're done. Just call it quits.
I like the tipping comps where. Have you ever seen the tipping comps? It's a certain app, but they go by the odds of the game.
Yeah.
So if you
Pick the
if you
line.
would have picked
the line,
if you
yeah.
picked Roosters, you would have got 11 points in your tipping comp.
Right, yeah.
Like because they were paying $11.
Oh, okay. I haven't seen that. No, that's interesting.
We do that for NFL. So, and most people. But the annoying thing is you have to turn off the tie option because by the end of it, if you just choose tie, if you manage to get one tie, you get like 80 points and you can pretty much win the comp. So, but yeah, I think that's the best way to do a tipping comp, especially with the rugby league system. Jesus.
Oh, mate.
I couldn't believe it.
Well, okay, going into this game, we've got grand final rematch. You've got a Penrith team that are missing some of their best players, but then they were on the receiving end of an understrength team, missing a heap of players, not expected to win. They go down to Melbourne, a little bit underdone due to the fact that they played one game against Para, which was almost a trial run. They had the week off, so maybe that balances it out a little bit, but it's hard to see past a Storm victory. It really is hard to see past that.
Yeah, I agree.
But then I'm just thinking like the importance of mentality for every single team, and like Penrith are going with their tail between their legs a little bit here and being like, yeah, we probably let ourselves down a little bit in our preparation. Cleary came out and said that he felt it was a game that they'd lost before they started, which is probably a little bit disrespectful to the Roosters, but he is focusing on his team, and I think we'll see a very improved Panthers. I reckon this could be a real dogfight of a game. Should be great contest.
Yeah, I think that Melbourne will get it, but like Dylan Edwards is such a big loss.
Yeah.
Like when you speak about who's the guy at Penrith, it's you can't. I don't think you can pin. Like everyone thinks Nathan Cleary, but I don't think you can pinpoint one. Like I feel like there's 3 pieces to the pie. There's Yo, there's Cleary, and Edwards. And when you take one of those pieces out, they're not exactly the team that they should be.
Well, there's a reason why those 3 are still there and plenty others left. Yeah, I'm going to go Melbourne.
Friday then, your Roosters taking on the Warriors over in New Zealand. Warriors, we got bagged a lot in the comments after the Hindy Jimmy episode, by the way, because
Because we
you didn't talk about the Warriors. And Warriors fans, if you don't talk about them and give them love, they crack the shit.
I mean, look,
Us Kiwis, man. We need our attention.
Respect that. You know what? We did gloss over that, and I'm sorry about that.
Who did they beat?
Manly. With
Pumped
ease,
them.
pumped them.
Luke
And they had
Metcalf
a
was
couple-
unbelievable.
They had a couple of tries. Manly had a couple.
I just couldn't remember. I watched it.
Manly had a couple of tries there that were dubious. So look, Warriors
Dubious?
fans, congratulations! You had a great victory, but we glossed over it. We appreciate you tuning in.
My
across the
friend
pond.
actually did tip the Warriors.
Did he?
He tipped the Warriors. He said, mate, first home game, New Zealand, they're going to get a dub.
Manly love losing games like that as well.
Yeah,
they
Manly
love losing
being
games like that.
inconsistent.
Yeah.
It's just facts.
Cheese, we'll stay away from you on this one. Huge ins
Well, I think
with
the Chooks will
Lenu back, Collins back, Radley back. Sorry, Warriors fans. I'm going to pick the Roosters.
Yeah, I think the Warriors will win over there. I do.
Okay.
I do. I think the Roosters will have a little come down after that win. But just on the Roosters, Mark Nwangani-Tawase, he is an insane athlete, isn't he?
He is stupidly good.
He's
something like, I don't reckon we've seen many players like with a similar skill set. Like, he's very rugby. Like, the way one of the tries he set up, it wasn't the 1-2, so it was the one where he wrapped it around the corner. Like, he passed it and then his ball skills is like on another level. Like, all his passing skills, everything, and his offloading ability. I was asking him about it after the game, and he reckons like, mate, in rugby we learn when you're getting tackled how to get rid of the ball. Like it's like it's something we practice. So a lot of the things that you see him like where he's throwing it at his ass, it's all like choreographed passes that he's done many times. So
I wonder if he could transition to a fullback when Teddy.
That's what he's. That's what he's fullback. He's a fullback.
Yeah. He looked
big ask in league.
Yeah, but he's got a couple of years to do it because Teddy's going to be around for the next couple of years. So
he trains at fullback.
Yeah, cool.
That'd be an if he does that. Like,
I tell you what he's not like Teddy and he's not like Edwards when he's fullback, but he can pick the right option and he can hit the player.
That'd be interesting to see if he can handle.
You know what I mean? Like he doesn't have the Ryles pace, but he's got the ball skills. You know.
On the Warriors as well, there was like the Levels podcast posted the clip about it, but there was this like mashup of you, Willie Mason, and Denning Kemp just basically saying the Roosters were no chance, and then Roosters were no chance against the Panthers.
Yeah.
So you said that last week.
Yeah.
And then they've clipped up all those bits and then shown the Luke Metcalf try where he then did celebration where he like closed out the noise.
You're talking about the Warriors, you mean?
No. Sorry. Saying the Warriors were no chance against Manly.
Well, I was right with that prediction.
Yeah.
Like based off the evidence presented to us, i.e. the Warriors shit show in Las Vegas, their poor season last year, how hot Manly were. You'll get presented with that, and only the diehard Warriors. That was a correct call, even though it was wrong. It was still a correct assumption.
Yeah. I think I stuffed that up. I think it was the Roosters against the Panthers.
No, it was the Warriors.
It was both. Was it both? Maybe? I don't know.
They did both.
I think I saw both maybe.
The clip you're talking about was the Warriors game.
Yeah.
And Luke Metcalf does the... But I think they held a little bit of the Roosters highlight, but the only clip of you was talking about the Warriors.
Perfect, yeah.
Look,
Warriors with no chance.
Yeah.
If I time travelled back and run that game again, I'd still pick Manly. And
even when Jimmy's wrong, he's right.
Right, yeah.
No, but there's a thing. No, there's a thing to be said about decision making. Even if you don't. Well,
but you're still wrong. If you get the decision wrong in hindsight, you're wrong.
Yeah, but I'd still make that call.
You said there's no chance, and you won. That means they were a chance.
Let's just move that.
This is what could have made you right. You could have said there are 0.0001% chance.
At least they didn't say something stupid like, if the Warriors win, I will, I don't know, get a back crack and sack wax or something. Shame like that, you know. Anyway.
You got the chooks.
I love when people make those deals.
Yeah. Yes.
Chooks, obviously Cheese tipping the Chooks. Friday night then, Broncos against the Cowboys. You know the Cowboys haven't beaten the Broncos since 2022.
Really?
Yeah. So it's one of those rivalries where they always have close games.
Yeah.
Looked at the last couple of years. Last year the Broncos pumped them in both games and the Cowboys were a finals team. The Broncos weren't a finals team.
Yeah, well, God, you forget that, don't you?
Yeah.
Mate, I remember when I was at the Cowboys, when I was younger, the games the Broncos and the Cowboys used to play when JT and Anthony Milford used to go at it with Ben Hunt, they were the best games of footy I've ever watched. So many times they went to Golden Point. Oh, missed those days.
They were quality.
That was when I'd just first started betting as well, because I would have been 2015, I was 20. So it was I bet on it to go to extra time for one of those games and got up and it was paying $15. I was like, yes.
A lot of pressure on the Cowboys. Defensively, they've looked really poor, to say the least. Coach Payton needs a response. Cronulla Sharks beat them with relative ease. They looked in first gear. Broncos, I think it's a bit of a reality check, and I think they'll get the victory.
Nanai's back on the bench as well, so just missed out the one game, then he's straight back in.
Yeah, well, I think
There's more of a little slap on the
Yeah.
bottom. Yeah, I'm going to go to the Cowboys.
Ooh, okay.
I don't know. I think they got a good squad, but honestly, both attack and defense are not clicking.
no.
But I think they've got a good enough squad.
Cowboys could be.
Yeah,
Sorry, mate. You go, Cheese.
2015 Cowboys went 0-3 to start the season. They won the comp.
Okay.
Interesting.
It's going to be interesting, though, if the Cowboys do start losing game after game. There's a lot of noise up there that maybe the players aren't believing in Todd Payton as much anymore. And even some players are completely offside with Todd Payton and the way he goes about his business. So that could become the story of the season if things really start to fall apart.
Certainly could. And Clifford's back as well, which is, I think, a smart decision.
Yeah.
Like, Duffy maybe is better or can be better, but I think at this moment they need some experience there. I don't think it's fair on leaving that young lad out there and experiences 3 losses in a row.
What do you think of that, of players losing confidence in the coach?
Like it happens. I've seen it happen.
See, I've never seen that happen.
See, I've seen it.
But you've had Bellamy and Trent Robinson.
Yeah, but like, it's weird to think like that, because I feel like the game, like the lead up to the game and the preparation is the coach's responsibility, but the game is players' responsibility.
Yeah.
Like you at the end of the day, the coach isn't out there doing the tackling, the coach isn't out there doing.
I think what happens, Cheese, is you have a defensive plan and an attack plan, and you'll do what the coach says, and you still concede, or you'll do what the coach says in attack and not come up with points, and then you go, like, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. But obviously there's a multitude of reasons as to why that happens, but I think that's where it generally stems from.
All about the game
Broncos,
plan.
Yeah. Broncos for me.
You got Cowboys. All right, next game then Saturday, 3 o'clock, Sharks against the Bunnies. I mean, you're not feeling great about the Sharks, are you, after the first couple of rounds?
No, I'm Vegas. I thought if you're going to beat Penrith, that's the time to beat them. And then
Turns out
I think they had an easy game against the Cowboys. I'm not falling in. I think that they're still primed to play finals, but they've got a lot of improvement in them. I think they'll get the win this week, though, against Cheese's new team.
I'll be sticking out of this one, boy.
Yeah.
Are you going to go to this game?
No.
You're not going to go to Cronulla and go watch the new boys, introduce yourself? If you're worried about making mates.
I'll be going to watch Nico, all right? So.
Oh. Yeah, Sharks for me.
Saturday, then we go to the Dolphins Tigers. I actually reckon this is one of the biggest games of the round in terms of like news sense.
The Tigers have been part of the biggest game of the round,
and they will be until they show some proper improvement. But for me, it's less about the Tigers.
Proper improvement. What was the score last
week? Mate, I reckon every other team in the comp would have put that score on the Eels just quietly. But Dolphins, I reckon it's more about the Dolphins this game.
I'm with you. They need to be better in attack. Like 3 or 4. Sorry. I think 4 penalties with the ball last week against the Knights. Just, you can't do that. You cannot give penalties when you have the ball. 3 for play the balls, 1 for offside or interference to the ruck, which was a try. Had Felice Kafusi not been in the way, like, you just can't do that. So, look, Wolfie will be feeling that pressure, and obviously the talk of the Wayne Bennett curse, but I'm backing the Dolphins.
Because the other thing with the Wayne Bennett case, like, the Bunnies have gone from being wooden spoon contenders to now they've won their first 2. Obviously not against like top opposition, but the Wayne Bennett curse is what will start to come up.
Yeah, but I'm going to back Dolphins in this one.
What about you, Cheese?
I'm going to go to Tigers.
Okay. I did stuff up that thing, by the way, with the Roosters. I'll play it for you so you can listen to how it actually goes.
The Roosters we're talking about, one of the biggest clubs in the rugby league, is paying $9.50. I've never ever seen it.
It's insane.
So I'll go Panthers 13 plus.
Yep. Panthers 13 plus. Yep.
Panthers 13 plus.
Can the Roosters keep it close, mate?
No. Especially Liam Martin. What Liam Martin's going to do to their left edge.
Combac's a fast finish too.
You know,
I think this makes Penrith even scarier this year at Combac.
Yeah.
This could easily be 50.
This could be,
I mean, I'm a cultural stores to try and paint anything positive about the Roosters.
That is pretty good.
NRL creatives on TikTok put that together. Well done.
Geez, we better have a good game next this week. it's the ultimate deflation. We've just gone from beating Penrith and then we lose them all. It'd just be
Yeah. And I reckon there's a chance as well of that. But anyway, Saturday night, Titans Knights.
This is another difficult one to call. Like,
reckon.
where's your?
Oh, nice. I reckon they're going to be in the top 8 this year. I reckon Caleb Ponga's going to be. He's going to win Dalian by 24 points, I reckon.
Yeah, it's looking that way, isn't it?
It's just good to see Cal. Like, when you watch his last 2 games, he's got such a competing mindset at the moment where he's like actually putting his body, like disregarding his body, honestly. He has that many try-saving tackles already this year and such a defensive mindset. And then when he gets his little, like 1 or 2 opportunities, he makes them count, I reckon. And then he's got Fletcher Sharp there, like, oof.
It's almost like he's the clear second best player in the game now. You got like Cleary at 1 and then Ponga's right there at 2.
See, I worry about Newcastle. No Leo Thompson, no Kai Pearce-Paul. And yeah, I just think the Titans really missed the start against the Dogs. Like the kick pressure. I think the Titans will bounce back.
I think for the Titans, I think it won't be like a whitewash, but I think the Knights get it. But unfortunately for the Titans, they had to play that. The bye round 1 is not good. Like it's actually horrible. I was just thinking, some teams had 2 games under their belt. Imagine Titans played like Melbourne or something.
Melbourne have had the bye in round 2. It's just
but they're just that you know, with your first game is so draining. Like it's so draining, and then you've got to play a physically fit, well-conditioned team.
Actually, the turnaround times in this are interesting. Like the Titans' first game down in Belmore Sunday, really hot. Newcastle played Thursday.
Yeah, so they got
Actually, you know what? I'm going to change. I was going to go Titans. I'm now convinced it's the Knights. The Knights are going to win that one.
It seems odd that Fafita's on the bench again as well.
Well, they've got to play him for longer than what they did. They have to. Like, he's too good to be playing. What did he play? 30?
Something like that. Yeah, 35 minutes.
35 minutes?
Yeah.
Nah. And Desi knows that. Des needs him out there for longer.
What do you reckon it is then? Like, why on earth would he not be playing? Why on earth is he not starting? He's their like $1 million man as well, Fafita.
It's where big deals come back potentially to haunt you, but yeah, he should be starting.
Yeah.
Or if he's coming off the bench, he comes on after 20 minutes.
Yeah, you've got him sitting on the bench. Or Tino, the poor bloke, just come back from ACL and they've forced him to push out like 60, 70 minutes. Mate, he was that buggered in the first.
Yeah, I'm
and he was still unbelievably good. Made 40-odd tackles, 150 odd. Like, he is some player.
Yeah, they've got to utilise that weapon. He's going to be playing 60 minutes. And he doesn't need to be heavily involved. He shouldn't be chasing stats, but he needs to have impact. And to have impact, you need to be out there for a significant amount of time.
Yeah. Let's go to Sunday then. 2 games on Sunday this week. We've got the Parramatta Eels against the Canterbury Bankstown Bulldogs.
No kick out, no bet.
Yeah. Big.
Yeah, but you look at who's come in.
Bailey Hayward at 5'8" and Cecilia Tupanua on the back row.
Yeah, look, I think the Dogs should still have enough.
It's a massive. Bird to Hayward, bit of a downgrade.
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah, but like the way Parramatta are playing at the minute, like, yeah, I just can't see anything but a Bulldogs victory.
Would you say that no chance, Jimmy?
I'm not going to do that again. I'm not going to say we're clutching at straws to find anything positive about the Parramatta Eels, even though we probably are.
I actually think the Parramatta Eels might beat the Dogs.
Really?
Yeah, maybe. I was talking to Winston Neville, number 1 Dogs fan, before we started. He's nervous. He's he's very nervous. But I don't know. I don't actually haven't rated the Dogs very highly the first couple of rounds. Don't know. They look like they're a worse team than last year.
Yeah, they have been sloppy.
Sloppy.
Yeah. Remember last year they started 0-2?
Yeah.
You remember that?
Sort of puts a
Man,
spotlight.
look how they went.
Puts a spotlight on their pre-season. Maybe they're not getting it right.
Maybe, yeah.
Nah, you think dogs in a canter?
Look, any
Eric
game,
Cantona.
look, hey, anything can happen. As round 2 is taught us. But look, I know the Dogs are going to miss those 2 weapons, but I still feel they'll have enough defensively and they'll have enough to find some points as well. Watch out for the Fox, highly motivated against his old team.
If he plays, yeah.
Come on, he's playing. Let's not fall into that trap.
I was only trying to wind you up. I actually think the Dogs will win. Have you got the Dogs as well?
I'm going the Eels.
Ooh.
Really?
Yeah, just because you don't like that.
Okay.
Final game then Sunday. Manly Seagulls trying to bounce back against Canberra Raiders.
I hate this game.
Yeah, me. This is a not impossible game.
Oh, God.
Still no Tarpany because he
How
got
on
2
earth
weeks.
Are you supposed to know who is going to win between Manly and Canberra?
You don't know any game Canberra plays. You don't know who's going to win.
Yeah, 100%. I tipped them
any
for the
game.
spoon.
And Canberra have that weird knack. They just win games they shouldn't win and lose games they should win. Like,
And also, Manly, they did it last year against the Raiders. They were up by about 12, 14 points, and Raiders just found like the most bizarre way to come back and win.
You know, the other interesting thing, obviously DCE and Turbo have both been named, but I don't think they're guaranteed to play.
DCE, I think, can play. Back spasms are horrible at the time, but they can subside pretty quickly.
that's 38 years old.
I can't recall a player missing 2 weeks from back spasms. It's normally you miss one, like when it happens.
This could be it?
No. Well, you miss, because it's in the immediate. We've seen it with, and it usually happens around flying as well.
Right.
Where, like, players have back spasms, a lot of travel. But it literally, again, most of if it is actual just back spasms and it's not an underlying issue, back spasms last for about 12 hours. And then once they go, you're pretty much back on the horse. So that's my experience with them anyway.
Hang on,
So
I was going to say. I thought
think
you said
DCE
you failed medical school.
I think that DCE will. I'd be surprised to see Turbo.
Turbo?
Yeah, I don't think he'll play.
Yeah. So then that probably leans it in the Raiders' favour for you.
I'm going to go the Raiders.
I'm back Manly to bounce back.
I'm going to go the Raiders if Turbo doesn't play.
Before we go then, boys, we've got some questions. Put it on the Instagram at the buy round. First question from Adam13164. Hi, I'm Adam, in case you didn't realise by his name. Should the NRL introduce a marquee player system for every team?
So not too
Unlimited
dissimilar what they
salary
do in the Super League. So basically they have 1 or 2 players that are exempt from the salary cap. Is that?
Yep.
I don't think we need to, Cheese. Do you?
No.
It's just not.
No, I don't think we do. I think we're like the players at the top echelon are well paid. And if it gets overboard, you don't want someone in your team earning $5 million and you've got, and you're on 300,000. Like,
And also, that leans way more in the favour of the clubs that have money versus the clubs that don't.
Great point.
It actually makes the competition
Man Cities.
unfair. So what happens, I know, in the Super League. So say, let's take Melbourne for an example, that have Grant, Munster, Hughes, Paps, right? You do all them on 4-year deals, and in 25, Grant has the
Marquee one, yeah.
In 26, it's Munster. In 27, it's Hughes. And 28, it's Paps.
Yeah.
And that's how a lot of the clubs over there in the Super League, or the better clubs, manage it. It's not like you're the marquee player for your 4 years of your deal. You get it for 1 year. And the rich clubs, basically, that's you get 1 year's worth that would have been spread out over 4. So I think it's a great point, and maybe it's a way that you could look to bring in talent from other codes, i.e. only rugby union really. But I just don't think it's worth it. I don't think we're in a position where we we need to exercise that to bring in talent.
Yeah. Great podcast that those boys have. Hughes, Pappenhausen and Munster, 167. It's a great podcast. They got a competition about who scores more tries, Pappenhausen and Munster. And do you remember in that round one where Munster breaks through and Pappenhausen breaks through and he's got Munster on the inside?
Yes, and he
doesn't pass to him.
Yeah.
There should be -1.
That should be
That should
-1.
be, yeah. If you're a shit house, -1.
Wardenator wants to know, is a beanie a hat? It's a good question.
Well, I'd say yeah.
What do you say, Cheese?
No.
Are you a beanie man? I reckon you could pull off a beanie.
It's a soccer shoe, really.
Is it what?
It's a soccer shoe. That's what I think. I think a beanie's like a sock of the head, whereas a hat's like a shoe of the head.
I thought you meant like a soccer shoe. Like, I thought
Is a soccer shoe.
no. Yeah, beanie is a hat. I wouldn't. I'd never even use the word beanie.
Does
I'd
hat,
say
does,
chuck us
does
that
hat
hat.
have like an underlying
You would
meaning?
say chuck us that hat to a beanie.
Yeah,
Chuck us that hat.
that's my hat.
No, you'd say you
No,
would.
you would not.
I would.
I'd say chuck us that head sock.
I don't think I've ever used the word beanie since I moved to Australia. I'd just say it's a hat.
You're not a beanie guy though, are you? You haven't got the head for a beanie.
Yeah, Luke, no
but-
beanie
but-
fits.
Hey, one size fits all. No, it doesn't. No, it
Just a
doesn't.
big brain. A big
That's
old
right.
brain.
Yeah, big old brain.
The final question comes from Winston Neville, who's found a great video of you on TikTok from Draft Sports, which I'll just pull it up and I'll play it for us. 1 sec. Here we go. So that's you revving up Sam Cassiano.
yeah,
Jeez, that's
I remember. Yeah.
Well, he's not lying. He's a big.
Like, I'm speaking the truth. I'm trying to get him to fire into. Like,
Would that be every kickoff or was that for special occasions?
Is that one where he got dished?
no, that was when Kane Evans hit him.
Yeah.
Jeez, I was fired up about that.
Mate, he actually just tagged me, Sam Cassiano. He tagged me on Instagram on that. You know how Nat Nelson's doing that run it? Oh, actually, they want me and you to do the commentary.
Oh, really? Oh,
Me and you?
yes.
Oh my god!
Have you seen it?
I've been told about it.
We spoke about it on the
Fuck,
show a
it's
few weeks
hilarious.
ago.
Yeah,
Mate, it's pretty sad. But
it's
yeah,
dangerous.
Sam Cassiano tagged me in it and said, I'm calling out you. I'm going to I want to run. I was like, oh, Jesus.
You should do the commentary for that. Get you on board.
Well,
It's
Two
not
of you
that
together.
dangerous, eh?
nah, no. What could possibly go wrong?
That's all the questions then for this week.
Thanks for that question, Winston. What was I trying to do? I was trying to inspire a teammate to burst through them.
Yeah.
And just like that positive affirmation of like, you are big.
Yeah. Do you might not remember, do you remember like the strangest thing you said in the field or the most like passionate thing you've ever done on the field?
Remember, Joseph Tarpany told me, he said to George Burgess that he hates the Queen on the field one time. I swear to God.
That's a
And
great
he said that
sledge.
Georgie got real furious about it. Did you guys, are you like that?
I'm not.
What the fuck you say to me?
It's a bit pathetic. Like I was born in England, but I think it's a bit pathetic, the love for the royal family.
I got
like
nothing
it's
against
bizarre.
them. I mean, I can take or leave them, really.
Yeah, like let's just give heaps of taxpayers money to some old rich family.
If someone said that to me, I'd be like, what? I wouldn't really care. That's a good question, Chuck. Can we save that for next week?
Yeah, have a think about it.
I'll have a think about it.
Yeah.
With that big fucking brain of yours.
He gave you a good sledge, didn't he? Did he give you a good sledge once?
Yeah, he called me a fag.
You shot out the
I
line. You
tried-
shot out the line, and I passed it. And then
I tried to late shot him.
he tried to late shot me, so I just shoulder charged him in. I was like, man, what are you doing?
No, you passed the ball, you looked at me, and you fucking went like
Yeah, because you were flying out the line at me. I knew what you were doing.
Yeah, well, I was trying to put pressure on you, but then...
No, you weren't. You're trying to shit out me. And after I passed it, left my rib exposed to try and whack me in there. And I knew what you were doing, so I just kept on running.
It was actually golden.
Yeah.
Have that, you fucking fat...
Good times indeed. Cheese, I think congratulations on behalf of everyone at the buy round.
Thank you.
We'll monitor this very closely. Thanks for sharing the news with us. Charlie, pleasure as always.
Thanks for having me.
listening, everyone.